Well, I feel like I'm in uniform right now, you know? It's exciting. Well, first of all, thank you so much for that introduction. Usually I get introduced as Sierra's husband, so that was cool. Yeah. And let me start by answering the question that is on so many of your minds. Yes, she is here too. She's back over there. Yeah, level up, level up. So, you know, President Hanlon, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty, honored guests, thank you for inviting me today. What an honor to be here today. And most of all, congratulations to the class of 2022. Now, my father, Harry Wilson, Dartmouth class of 1977, had a favorite poem, and it's by Langston Hughes, Mother to Son. And maybe some of you know it, but he memorized this poem, and he would recite it all the time to my brother, my sister, and me, and he would do the voice because you gotta do the voice. He'd say, well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, in places with no carpet on the floor, bare. On one hand, graduates, you don't need me or even Langston Hughes to tell you life isn't always easy or fair. Today, you're graduating from an incredible school, but these 4 years probably weren't the typical college experience you imagined. Shutting down when the pandemic hit, missing your sophomore summer, figuring out what the heck a Zoom call is, and then coming back here, not just bringing this campus back to life, but making it better and stronger and fairer than ever. See, every graduating class has an achievement to celebrate, but you, class of 2022, you did something really special. You all should be so proud of that. And you didn't reach that moment alone. You had people, parents, you had family members, faculty, coaches, staff, friends, mentors, people who loved you enough to push you harder and further than you could ever imagine you could go. They're celebrating with you, and they deserve a big round of applause. See, the thing is, this is their special day too. And I'll be honest, this is also a special day for me, because in a very, very real way, Dartmouth made me the person I am today. See, I'm not a Dartmouth graduate myself, that's for sure, and I know nobody's perfect, but 3 of my uncles are. Uncle John, class of 1980, Uncle Richard, class of 1985, and Uncle Ben, class of 1973, and he's here today. Uncle Ben, can you please stand up for me? That's the one and only Uncle Ben. And then there's my dad, Harrison Benjamin Wilson III, Harry, a.k.a. HB Productions, number 29. See, this year, along with his classmate, your president, Phil Hanlon, right here, you can give him a round of applause. My dad, HB Productions, 29, and Phil, they would have celebrated their 45th reunion, and yet I bet my dad's Dartmouth experiences wasn't so much different from yours. See, he explored the White Mountains with the Outing Club, shivering his way across the green during those long New Hampshire winters. He ate mile-high apple pie at Lou's, and I went to Lou's today, and I may have had a little bite of Lou's apple pie, who knows, but it's pretty darn good. And my dad, he majored in history. See, his independent study on busing and school integration, and spent late nights studying in the Baker Library right here behind me. Now, he never told me this directly, but he also probably played a little pong too. And I bet he was good. So to say my dad was my role model would have been an understatement. See, he played 2 sports in college. He played football and baseball just like me. And people thought he was too short, sound familiar, to make an impact on the football field. So he walked onto the team and earned his spot. In fact, one of his teammates was your coach and is your coach, Buddy Tevens, who I'm proud to call a mentor and a friend. My dad, he loved to compete. He loved winning. Senior year as a wide receiver, he set the single season record for yards and catches. He was all Ivy and all East, baby. And a lot of what I do on Sundays looks like it comes naturally, but I learned a lot from that from my dad. My brother, too, he's over here as well. So my brother taught me a few things. But what my dad taught me, the way was his experience at Dartmouth transformed not just his life, but mine. It goes way beyond the field. Now, just to be clear, I'm not giving my dad all the credit. My mom, Tammy Wilson, now she's the best. She sacrificed daily, late nights working at the hospital, tons of prayer. She helped me reach my dreams. But standing here at my father's alma mater, looking out over this place that helped him become the man he was, it's impossible not to think about his legacy. And living with legacy is what I want to talk to you about today. Now, legacy might seem like a strange topic for a commencement speech because, this is your beginning. You're just starting out. But graduates, if there's one thing I hope to accomplish today, it's to challenge you not to wait to think about your legacy and what that will be. But because legacy isn't just something you leave behind, it's something you build, something you add to every day. My dad, he didn't get as many days as he deserved. I miss him so much, but because he lived with legacy, he's never really gone. I hear his voice all the time. So as you leave this campus and build your own legacies, I want to tell you a few things my dad said to me. Things he knew would one day be a part of his legacy. Things he still says to me even now. Let's go back about 20 years. I'm in 10th grade, 14 or 15 years old, growing up in Richmond, Virginia, and I've been playing high school football. And I got to say, I was pretty good. I was all state, And I know I've got skill and all that, but having skill isn't the same as having a dream. Anyway, one week, my dad and we take a flight down to Peyton Manning Passing Academy in Thibodaux, Louisiana. And when I say Thibodaux, Louisiana, I'm talking about real down south, like real down south, okay? And so now when we get there, we're in this crummy, terrible, terrible hotel. And the only room they have is right next to the laundry room. So you can hear the washing machines going all night. Smells kind of funky. The good times. But my first day of camp, they picked 12 kids who get to work with the one and only Peyton Manning, and I get picked. Peyton tells me, of course in his voice, "You can really spin that ball for a little guy." Now, that night, my dad takes me out to this hole-in-the-wall gumbo spot. Louisiana gumbo. Real spicy type gumbo. And we stay there for a while because, of course, we don't want to go back to that crummy hotel. And we're talking, and he says, you could play against the Manning brothers one day. You could play in the NFL. And I was a confident kid, but I must have given him a look like, "Dad, are you sure?" Because he looked me right in the eye and said, "Why not you? Why not you?" Class of 2022, I have a theory that we're all born with gifts, with skills, but we're not always born with dreams. We need someone to plant that seed, light that spark. And my dad's way of lighting that spark was a simple 3-word question. I wanted to play 2 sports in NC State, and people said, "There's no way you could do that." But I could hear my dad's voice in my head, "Why not you?" Graduating in 3 years, why not you? Staying at quarterback instead of switching positions, why not you? Building businesses, why not you? Playing in the NFL, winning a Super Bowl, why not you? Seeing this hot, long-legged singer named Sierra for the first time in a music video, her little smirk of a smile, come on, Russ. Come on, why not you? So, graduates, I'm not here to tell you every dream is going to come true for you. My dreams of being like Mike at my height, those didn't come true. But I am here to tell you that every dream is going to come true for someone. And why shouldn't that someone be you? Asking yourself, why not you, is part of what I mean by living with legacy. See, I've been lucky enough to meet all kinds of people who are living the life they've always wanted, but they have different goals, but they reach those goals in different ways. But there's one thing they have in common. They all believed it was possible. Throughout your life, you're going to have plenty of chances to give up on your dreams. I can't tell you how many opportunities I've had to quit. But if you got that voice in your head saying, "Why not you?" that helps you keep going. And it helps you keep working. Because if you believe all things are possible, well, that still means you got to put the work in to make it happen. Why not you as a winner's mentality? It's about dreaming and delivering. It's a question that doesn't just make you confident, it makes you try harder. My dad was right. 11 years after he asked me that question in a restaurant in Louisiana, eating that spicy gumbo, I played my first game against Peyton Manning. And it's funny how life comes full circle, because now that I'm in Denver with the Broncos, Peyton's working with me every day and making me better and better every day. Because I still have dreams. I want to win more Super Bowls, build more businesses, and own an NFL team one day. And as I go out and pursue my dreams, I'll keep hearing that same question over and over and over again. Why not you? Now, as you can probably tell at this point, my dad was a pretty confident guy. But something I loved about him, something I know he worked at and worked hard to pass on to his children, is that he knew confidence and humility. Confidence and humility can go hand in hand. I remember one time my dad and I were driving back to Richmond from my grandfather's house in Norfolk, and it's 2 a.m. and I'm in the passenger seat asleep, knocked out cold. My mouth is hanging wide open. I got drool all over the window. And my dad wakes me up, banging on my shoulder, just, son, what does this mean to you? There's a king in every crowd. Now, I've got to be honest. It took me a while to figure that one out, but it stuck with me. I have a wristband I wear every day. And when I look down at it, I read those words my dad said to me, a king in every crowd. So let me tell you what that means to me now. First, I'm a Christian, so for me personally, a king or queen in every crowd means that whatever I do, God is watching. But no matter how or what you believe, that idea still matters. You should make every decision, live every moment as though someone you care about is paying attention. My dad used to say, you never know what scout or GM is watching you. But then he'd say, and the most important thing he'd say is, you never know what little kid is watching you too. That's the other part of a king or queen in every crowd. No matter where you go, no matter how big you get, the most important person in the room isn't you. It's the person who you can serve. See, there's nothing wrong with ambition. Ambition can be a good thing. And I'd imagine a school like Dartmouth, we've got some ambitious people out here. But your ambition has to be in service of something or someone. That's what makes it worthwhile. See, I think about this all the time. I want to win many more Super Bowls as possible, but that's important to me. But what matters even more is whether I'm able to reach the next group of kids sitting in the passenger seat next to their moms or dads talking about their dreams. Did I inspire them enough? The kids sitting in the 300 section all the way in the nosebleeds, can I inspire them enough? Can I show them that they can do anything? No matter what you do after you leave this campus, your life, your legacy will be defined not by the accomplishments you list on your resume or the goals you achieve, but by the impact you have. My dad always used to say, son, it's not the day you're born or the day you die. It's the hash mark in between. How are the people around you affected? What are they going to say about you? More importantly, what do you want them to say about you? That's what living with legacy is all about. Now, so far the stories I've shared with you about me and my dad have been car ride stories, the good times, going to camps and games, jamming out to the 70s and 80s CDs we used to make, Elton John, Earth, Wind & Fire, Teddy Pendergrass. I love me some Teddy P. Turn off the lights. Those moments of pure joy, that's part of legacy for sure. But this last story is a little heavier. It's almost exactly 12 years ago, and I go to visit my father in the hospital room. And as you know by now, my dad was a proud man, an athlete, a fighter, a dreamer. But now, after years of complications from diabetes, he doesn't have much time left, and he can barely speak. He's lying in that hospital bed all by himself, and I sit next to him, and I take his hand, and I start singing one of his favorite songs, Marvin Sapp, Never Would Have Made It. I never would have made it. I never could have made it without you. I would have lost it all. But now I see how you were there for me, and I can say I'm stronger. Tears are coming down his face, and tears are coming down my face, and then he says to me, through all that pain, he says to me, just remember, your name carries weight. It's one of the last things he ever told me. Your name carries weight. And graduates, that's the last piece of living with legacy that I want to talk about today. Because what my dad was telling me in that moment was, act as though you matter. To matter, it can be a scary thing. Sometimes it's easier to pretend we don't matter, to go through life as though our actions and inactions carry no weight, but they do. What you do, the little stuff and the big stuff, will have an impact that touches the people closest to you and ripples out further than you'll ever realize. And part of your job as a person on this earth is to never forget that your name carries weight. You don't have to live your life knowing all the answers, but you do. You do have to live your life trying to answer the right questions. How many people can you help? Are you able to love amid storms? Are you able to care for people when they have nothing? Can you act out of a sense of servitude without asking for anything? See, if you can do that, then all good things will come. A few weeks after I sang to my dad in that hospital room, I was back in there with my mom. My dad couldn't speak, but he could hear us. And at one point, I leave the room, and my mom and I go in the hallway to talk for about half an hour. And before we come back in, I can hear his EKG right from the hallway, and it's going beep, beep, beep. And I take one step in the room, and I say, Dad, I'm here. Then all of a sudden, the line goes flat. Beep. It was one of the hardest moments of my life, but I knew, even though that seemed like it was the end, it was really just the beginning and not the end. And I think my dad knew it too. Legacy. Class of 2022, life for you won't be no crystal stair. There'll be tacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor, bare. Your journey will be unpredictable. But I know it will be amazing. And if you ask yourself, why not me? If you remember the king and queen in every crowd, if you carry yourself as though your name carries weight, then, just then, you'll live a life and build a legacy you can be proud of. Thank you. Congratulations to the Dartmouth class of 2022.